Is it on? Okay, there we go. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. If you can hear my voice, clap once. If you can hear my voice, clap 2 times. If you can hear my voice, clap 3 times. Amazing. It works with kids. It also works with New York, the New York tech ecosystem. Welcome, everyone. My name is Carly Graham Garcia. I manage external affairs for Google's New York City campus. We are so excited to have you here tonight to celebrate the anniversary of Silicon Alley, 140 years of the tech ecosystem thriving in New York City. I want to quickly thank our partners for tonight's event. Abney, you've seen Angela and Amanda and team running around. Tech NYC, and also the New York Tech Alliance. I also wanted to let folks know we are, in addition to giving away free swag, supporting Computer Science for All. So there's a text to donate, especially since you're getting a free t-shirt and some free cool stuff. Make a donation to support computer science education in New York City tonight if you would. And don't forget on the way out, if you haven't grabbed anything, to grab stickers and swag. Without further ado, I wanted to introduce tonight's MC, author, comedian, and actually former colleague of mine, Sarah Cooper, to lead us through some pretty cool stuff. Enjoy, have fun, and talk to you soon.
Hey guys, how are you guys doing? Come on, we can do better than that. How are you guys doing? You guys excited? It's 140 years. No one here is that old, except maybe a few people, okay? This is really cool. I have to be honest, though. I told my friends that I was coming to this anniversary party, 140 years of Silicon Alley, and they were like, what? 140 years it's been around? It was around before Silicon Valley? How does that work? It doesn't really seem to make much sense. But even though Silicon Alley, the name, is only a few decades old, the innovation of this area it stretches back much longer than that. They invented the iPhone. We invented the original phone. You know, you couldn't really have that, right? They invented the personal computer. We invented a little thing called electricity. Ever heard of it? I think it's pretty important. I think you can't really make a semiconductor without electricity. Any engineers back me up on that? I don't really know how semiconductors work, so that would be awesome. They invented a vending machine called a bodega, and we have actual bodegas here, so that's also a good thing that we have. Thank you. Yeah, so Greg David, he wrote a little thing in what is it, Cairns? Cranes. I'm dyslexic, but only when I speak. And he mentioned a few cool things, 7,500 firms in tech, employing over 120,000 people, and almost $40 billion of investments in the past 5 years, including Flatiron Health, which just got purchased by Roche for, anyone know the number? $1.9 billion. That's amazing, making those money moves. I think that's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. So I am Sarah Cooper. A little bit more about me. I worked at Google for almost 4 years. I left because I read one of those articles online that said you should quit your job and follow your dreams. So I quit my job, and then I realized those articles are written by people that want your job. So now I just sit at home writing articles like that, hoping someone else will quit their job, and then I can take their job. It was a lot of fun working at Google. Who here works at Google is a Googler? Clap if you work at Google. Googlers in the house. It was a lot of fun working here, right? It's all about being googly, you know? The new Googlers are called Nooglers. The older Googlers are called Greyglers. That's anyone over 25. And they did have some trouble. They couldn't come up with a name for the black Googlers. So they decided to just call them Jake and Sean. They figured that was easier. And they're here tonight, right? Jake, Sean, you guys here? You guys here? No, we're working on the diversity thing. We're working on it, you know, so we're getting there. Software engineers are super proud of working here, though. I heard a rumor, I don't know if you guys have heard this, that software engineers at Google are so proud of working here that they have sex with their badges on. That's a joke. They do not have sex. They do not. No, they do not. My husband hates that joke because he's a software engineer at Google. We met while we were here. Anyone else meet their significant other at work? People that have no energy. They're like, yes, me. It's been a hard time. I think it wasn't like settling. It was more like giving up, like I could see your calendar. We could just have a convenient relationship, it was really convenient. It's a little weird being married to a software engineer, though. Like, he has weird ways of solving problems. Like, anytime there's an issue, he makes me file a bug, which is really annoying. Like, I felt like we weren't spending enough time together, so I filed a bug, and he marked it working as intended, which is super, super annoying. And I felt like he wasn't listening to me, so I filed a bug for that, and he reassigned it to my therapist. So that wasn't cool either. We actually just moved from New York to San Francisco, and yeah, boo. I agree. It's been 3 years. I think we're moving back. I think we've had enough of San Francisco. It's interesting. There's some similarities and differences. Like, if you're walking around New York and you feel a drop of water, you're not sure if it's rain or condensation from an air conditioner. There, you'll be walking around and you'll smell something funny, and you're not sure if it's weed or it's definitely weed. It's probably weed. Yeah. Here, if you're in someone's way, they're just like, get out of my way. There, they just kind of sigh internally. They just kind of judge you without saying anything. So I don't know. I like New York a lot better, and I'm excited to move back. So tonight, give it up for New York. Awesome, awesome city. Anyone here not living in Manhattan? Name some boroughs you guys are from. That did not work out as well as I hoped. Brooklyn, what else? Bronx, Queens, Staten Island, Hoboken. Is that a borough? Is the sixth borough? Nice. Cool. Awesome to have all you guys here. We have an awesome show for you. We're going to have some demos. They're 5-minute demos. These are the original demos that these startups did in order to get the funding and get where they are today. So it's going to be really cool to see what they said to get all the money and the success that they have. But first, before we get started, we have the CTO of the city, Miguel Gamino. And if there are any CTOs here, he is technically your boss. I think that's how that works. And he's going to give some remarks about tech in Silicon Alley. And he's already wearing a shirt. I'm excited to introduce him. So put your hands together for Miguel Gamino.
Thank you. I had no idea I was performing at the Comedy Cellar. I might have reconsidered the request if I knew that. I was thinking over there, I'm a technologist, I'm not supposed to be funny. But then I heard her introduce herself, and I was like, I'm screwed. But no, thank you for having me here. This is awesome to be here. I came from San Francisco, so it is definitely weed that you're smelling. And I am also super thrilled to be in New York. And that's not just because I'm here surrounded by New Yorkers from all 5 boroughs. It's because I actually really do enjoy New York. And the reason for that is congruent with the whole conversation we're having tonight about the 140 years, which, by the way, I got that invitation, and I have to admit I did Google what it was 140 years ago, and electricity. Got it. But between then and now, there's a couple things that happen in New York pretty consistently and repeatedly that I think we need to really embrace today because they're maybe more important now than ever. And that is very bold thinking and a really diverse, interesting collection of people working on that bold thinking. And so I think tonight we're going to hear from some startups, hopefully with some bold thinking, that we should be supportive of, and we should encourage them to continue thinking big. And we should also look around this room and realize that, all jokes aside about diversity, that it really is super important. And it's not just important for the sake of headlines or what the Twitter sphere might be telling you should be thinking about today, but because it really does build better product. It really does. Those products contribute to a better life, and so I think it's really important that we embrace that. And it's one of the things that I recognized very quickly when I got to New York was that diversity was very rich and very authentic. And the story I always tell to compare San Francisco to New York that I think might resonate is you can be in a room, call it a bar or a Blue Bottle, and in San Francisco, and I guarantee you that everyone in the room is working at a startup, working on a startup, or dating someone at Google, apparently not having sex, which might have something to do with all the Blue Bottle, I don't know. But in New York, you come and you stand in a bar, or you stand in a coffee shop that's not a Blue Bottle, but that's born and bred in New York, in a very kind of authentic, neighborhood-centric way. And I'm often the only technologist in the room. And I'm barely a technologist. I work in government right now. And I think that was, and at some point, it was a mental shift for me. And then when I recognized how powerful that was, that I could have a bunch of conversations with people in a whole bunch of different industries, and how enriched I was when I left those conversations, it impressed upon me how important that is and how valuable that is to New York City. So that's what I want to kind of leave you with as we get set up for listening to some startups is think about how we can really take advantage of that kind of natural resource in New York, is this really bold, courageous thinking that we've come to just expect from each other, and the way that rooms look in New York City that can not only contribute to that bold thinking, but make sure that it produces things that are really useful and really important to helping people have better lives and a better community. So thank you so much for having me. I don't get to wear a t-shirt all the time at work, so I took advantage, and I really appreciate the hospitality, the comfort, the jokes, and I'm looking forward to the pitches. Thanks.
Cool. Okay, so we're going to keep this party moving right along. Our very first demo is from Benefit Kitchen, which I'm not sure exactly what they do, but we are going to find out in a very quick demo from Melanie. Put your hands together for Benefit Kitchen.
Hi. Hello. Hi. Oh, it just works like that. That's nice. Hi, I'm Melanie, and before we start that clock, point of order. That while the other two here might have been bought out by Google lately, I am still up for sale. I am not a nonprofit. I am full-on startup, and that would have been nice if I think the other folks are doing their original pitches. This is still real and everyday. So, I'm Melanie Lavelle, Benefit Kitchen. I will be the only pitch tonight that starts and ends in an emergency room story, but big smiles. We're going to go through it. Right now, oh, wait. There we go. Hi. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so fun. So we are the first and only data analytics platform in the country that lets you estimate eligibility for 18 federal, state, and local benefits. Why is this important? Nationally, we leave $80 billion on the table in these government benefits. Money that's not going to families, to hospitals, all across the country. The government makes these so complicated and convoluted, this isn't getting out to the families that need them the most. So, starting with a single mom in a hospital with no insurance. That hospital will serve that family no matter what. They will help them get the child feeling better. Whether or not they're going to get paid, they don't know. They just do the service right then and there. With Benefit Kitchen, they can go right in to our app, bedside, and figure out what benefits that family is eligible for instantaneously, go through, are you eligible to Medicaid, Obamacare, CHIP, all of that. But then there's also something called social determinants of health. That means that because you're poor, you're more likely to live with more diseases. You're going to die 7 years younger just because you're poor. We help those other social determinants of health being tax credits, increase your lifelong earnings, utilities, help you keep the insulin cold, keep your housing. We do food, which increases fetal birth weight. When the baby comes out, the baby's healthy. Childcare, school, all lend to creating vastly better outcomes for that family. So they could use the app while they're in the hospital, or they could send their patients a message that asks a question, and we can do SMS screening for that family to find out what benefits they should be getting, what they aren't, all right from the individual's phone. We never ask name or social security number, so this is all friendly. Then they want to find out, did the family get the benefits? You can either use our CRM or we text the individual, did you get the Medicaid? Do you still need help? All ways to keep in touch about what's going on with that family and what help they still need. And then maybe they decide they don't even need the app. Maybe they want to take all 50,000 patients they saw this year and find out which ones aren't getting health insurance that are eligible. They can use our APIs to just screen, never using our app or our CRM, but getting the data they need to make sure that that hospital stays in business and that those low-income families get the benefits they are eligible for. So in the end, for this hospital, we're kind of a census builder. Here are the people you're serving. Here is where they're at. Here's what benefits they're getting, what they're not getting. It's the complete picture of maybe your program or maybe your state. Or if you're a bigger group, maybe it's who you're serving across the country. But this is real data, not the kind of fibbed analytics that you get from the government about what costs are. This is real information coming at you live. And because it's all anonymous, it has no problem being shared. So we do this, and of course, we just let other people build their brands. You can white label it. You can customize special benefits. We're working in Brooklyn, adding kind of with a local group to add prescription drug, a pharmacy that will also let you get farm fresh food box. Like, you can customize this stuff. Once you have the structure, you can customize this however you want. And this is healthcare. Dude, really? 0 seconds? Well, we're going to take one more than that. I'm reclaiming my time, people. Reclaiming my time. But that all across this is just one. We also work with nonprofits, foundations. Most importantly, it's this New York City community, and as a woman in tech, this community, and especially for more diverse tech entrepreneurs, this community gets us voice where we're not going to get it otherwise. We're already not getting funding. If you don't also have a voice, you're not getting anywhere. We are the most diverse city in the country, and that diversity creates diverse projects and programs like what you saw here. And without the groups like Civic Hall, Blue Ridge Labs, Points of Light, and the awards that Miguel and the city do, small business services grants, the big apps, these all help us get a voice where we wouldn't have one on our own. And for, basically New Yorkers are tougher. We all know that. And to end with that other emergency room story, my 5-year-old son was in the emergency room with 12 stitches in his head due to being a 5-year-old in gym class, apparently. It's all it takes. And he got up and ran right afterwards. He was up and running and wondering why he couldn't go play soccer. That's how I look at the entrepreneurs I know and love in New York, and looking forward to seeing even more and more diverse. Thank you. Thomas and Ale, go to bed.
What?
They might be watching on this live stream, and
yeah.
they do that.
Cool. Okay, another round of applause from Melanie from Benefit Kitchen. How many thought that that was going to be something about cooking? Okay, me too. Okay, that wasn't just me. But that's awesome. I think the diversity is really important. Women in tech. Let's hear it for women in tech. I think that's awesome. I think that is really how we get more diverse stuff, because I feel like if I see one more startup that's about like how to make the perfect button-down shirt for a man delivered to your home, I'm just gonna scream, because you guys have enough shirts, I think. So I hope none of you are making shirts for men, like the perfect button-down shirt. So are you guys ready for your next demo? Are you guys ready for your next demo? Okay, put your hands together for Peter and Elliot from Songza.
Right.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
All right, we make shirts.
Yeah, button downs for men. Benefit Kitchen is super impressive. That was amazing. Thank you so much for presenting that. One more round of applause. Thank you. I'm Peter.
I'm Elliot.
And we started a company based in Long Island City called Songza. And we started this company in 2010, and we were acquired by Google in 2014, and we are still at Google. Before that, we started another music company called Amy Street, which we ran also in Long Island City from 2006 to 2010. So for this exercise, we're gonna go through our original Songza pitch, but in order to do that, we need to flash back 4 years exactly, February 2014, right? And in February of 2014, Songza has millions of users. We have around 40 employees. Finally, thank God, we are starting to generate some revenue, real revenue for the first time ever, thanks to a sales team that we've ramped up. But we are in desperate need of an investment. We need money. We are running out of money. And so we need it, like it's an emergency for us, right? So everyone with us? We're just gonna jump right in. Okay, so why should you invest in Songza? It's actually really simple. You should invest in Songza because our team of hardened, seasoned, veteran entrepreneurs has made all of the right mistakes. And we've learned all of the tough lessons over nearly 8 years of making consumer-facing music products. And right now, we've got it right. So we are on the path to win with Songza, and we're going to explain why.
All right, so let's talk briefly about Amy Street. And so, like Peter mentioned, Amy Street was our first company. It was a company that we built as we were graduating college. Amy Street at its core, it's a music store. Clap your hands if you remember when people used to buy music. And so Amy Street was a digital music store. We sold MP3s, but we used dynamic pricing. So everything started free and rose in price based on its demand in the market. It was really fun for users, not so much for music labels. That said, we did end up getting every music label at some point to sign on. But ultimately, long story short, we decided that we really couldn't find a way to get this business to scale. We also noticed that, this is around the time that streaming is becoming a big story. And so, Songza was Amy Street was a sort of an awesome idea, ahead of its time, but we decided that we wanted to skate to where the puck was going. And so that brings us to Songza. And so we determined that music streaming was a thing to do. We thought that a startup could really take advantage of this space, and we had a lot of ideas. Turns out we had a ton of awful ideas. And so I'm going to give you a super quick history of some terrible things that we built along the way as we got to where we ended up being. And so what we're looking at right now is what we call Orange Songza. Orange Songza, you could search for any song in the world, you could play it, you could add it to a basic playlist. It had a really clean, simple UI. Unfortunately, for us, it was built on top of the YouTube API at the time. So we didn't control our own destiny. I think we also learned that while you could search for anything, you could play anything, you couldn't open it, say, play me music. It was a little bit too difficult, right? There wasn't a lean back listening experience.
So the next terrible failed iteration of Songza was called Songza Radio. Songza Radio was a personalized radio service that allowed you to create a station based on an artist seed or a song seed. Does that sound familiar to anyone? Okay, so it was absurdly easy to use. Everyone got it the moment that they came to the site. The problem was it was a total Pandora clone, so no one cared. The next version after that was called Songza Sets. Songza Sets were short, highly curated 12-song playlists with paragraphs and paragraphs of analysis about every song. So it was a fun, opinionated product, but it wasn't an exciting business in any way. Basically, it was a glorified music blog with a bunch of play buttons.
So inevitably, there was a social Songza, social, mobile, local. And so there was a social Songza you could build playlists with your friends. It was an awesome idea, right? In a lot of ways, it was like an early Turntable FM, if anybody remembers Turntable FM. It ended up suffering from some of the same problems as Turntable FM did. It was super fun for a few weeks, but ultimately it was way too much work. And so that was the social Songza. So along the way, we built all these different versions of Songza. None of them really caught on. We decided the way to win was to combine all of our half-baked ideas into one big idea. This had to work, right? This was totally gonna work. This is what we call Franken-Songza. Franken-Songza had every single iteration of Songza in one big product. It had everything, that was good, but it had too much, and that was bad.
So it was time for us to take stock, right? We needed to really take stock of all of the lessons that we had learned, all of the mistakes that we made, and we knew that if Songza was going to be successful, if it was going to survive, it had to be a lean-back experience. It had to be controlled for quality. It had to be easy to understand conceptually, but also really simple to use, and crucially, it had to be different than Pandora. So after testing out all of these different versions of music products and observing a ton of user behavior, we came to a core belief, and this is foundational for us. Our core belief is that music is a tool. Music is something that people employ in order to improve their moods and in order to make their moments better. So how many of you, or how many hours a day do you set aside in your schedule for music listening? If you're like most people, the answer is none. You set aside time, you schedule time for sleeping and for exercising and for working and for cooking dinner and hanging out with your friends, but not for listening to music. That said, music is on in the background of everything that you do. It energizes you in the morning, it helps you focus at work, it helps you unwind after work, it lulls you to sleep at night. People don't listen to music just to listen to it. They listen to music to change a mood, to enhance a mood, to facilitate an activity, like running farther, faster on a treadmill. It's always consumed in the broader context of something else that's happening.
All right, so we're coming into the home stretch here. So we have this core belief. Awesome, we have a core belief. What a core belief does, it allows you to make some key decisions, some hard decisions. We decided we need to focus. We wanted to focus on context. What you're doing and how you're feeling matters for music, and that was extremely important. Expert curation also matters, and that was important for us as well. And we had to figure out a way to scale expert curations. How could we combine humans with algorithms to make a experience that feels premium all the time for users all over the place? And so ultimately what this allowed us to get to is sort of a utopian vision for the future. This was important for us. It was, you will always have the perfect music for any moment, and you won't have to search or browse for it because it's going to find you.
So we've finally got it right. We have launched a music concierge that anticipates what you're doing or what you're feeling when you open the app, and it delivers the perfect, expertly curated playlist for that moment, be it waking up or going to work or sleeping or crucially hosting a sexy pool party.
So Songza, it's a better way to live. Songza makes housework better, makes exercising easier, it makes schoolwork bearable. I think so for some of our users, they even think, I think one of these mentions it, the Songza is better than the boyfriend because we actually understand what makes them happy. Songza is also really super smart. We anticipate exactly what you might be doing, taking into account all these different sort of variables, even weather. Songza's mobile first. And so Songza, you can use it with one thumb. This is how the vast majority of our users are actually using it on mobile. We have an award-winning UI. The App Store loves us. And probably most importantly, we're actually making money now. Why are we making money? We have a super engaged user base. It's the right demographic, and we built a native advertising system that lets advertisers not just own a page or a screen, they can own a moment. So imagine Mr. Clean owning cleaning the house, or Reebok owning somebody's morning workout. And probably most importantly, we have a lot of cool famous friends now as well that actually use Songza.
Okay, so you've heard our history. You understand that we are seasoned entrepreneurs. You also now know we're about to finish. I promise this is it. You've also seen why Songza is so great. So now it's time to talk about this investment opportunity. The music streaming space is expensive, and all of our biggest competitors have raised at least 9 figures. But we know that we can do it cheaper, right? 8 figures, guys. We can definitely do this for 8 figures. And I know most of you are really impressed by this, but for those of you who are thinking, maybe that's too much money for a company in a space that's littered with dead startups, I think that's fair enough. And so we're also exploring some acquisition opportunities. Thank you all very much.
Nice job. Fail fast. Awesome. I think I'm going to leave my husband for Songza. It sounds amazing. Okay, let's move on to our very last demo, which is from meetup.com. Put your hands together for Scott.
Thank you. Hi. Lots of familiar faces. I'm Scott Heiferman from Meetup. We're not meetup.com. I don't know where that came from. But it's a thrill to be here. So I was told I got to give the pitch, the original Meetup pitch, and this is the pitch that in 2002 I used to raise, and those of you who know 2002, this was the bottom of the barrel, the bust of the dead zone of post bubble bursting internet times. All ancient history that most people don't care about. But I used this pitch, got me. It had no deck, no nothing, but we got and we had a thriving platform that was taking off. It was the hot thing, and so I was able to raise $1 million from a venture capitalist in Silicon Valley, one of the top firms. For a third of the company. So this is I'm not hearing any oh my gods. This was a pre-money of $2 million for 1 million in. Okay, I see not a lot of finance nerds in the room. All right, so the basic Meetup idea was I had moved to New York from Iowa just a few years earlier. I started what was actually one of the first 3 or 4 internet companies in New York in '95, and became one of the big online ad agencies, despite the fact that I hated advertising. I hated the soulless advertising business, and I was able to sell it, and it became part of Omnicom. And when the company was like 200 people, and it was like this big win, and I was 20, I was in my 20s, and but I really didn't know what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And so it was then that I was just kind of goofing around for about a year, and then 9/11 happened. So this is going way, way back, everyone, way, way back in ancient history. So Tuesday morning, 9/11, I go to the roof of my apartment building, and the second plane had just hit, and the towers went down, and over the course of the morning, more and more of the neighbors just kind of started going to this is at Elizabeth and Houston, more of the neighbors started going to the roof. And I found myself talking to my neighbors, which is something I never did before in New York. And just simple sense of people caring for each other, a simple spirit of people looking after each other, a basic idea that, holy shit, what's going on, and you might actually need other people. You may actually want to have a sense of local community. So that stayed. And so even in the days after, in my apartment building, people would say hello to each other in the elevator when they would otherwise just avoid eye contact. Now this was, let me remind you, this is my pitch on Meetup. The thought was that someday when people are in elevators, they would be looking at something called smartphones, or that basically, remember, this is a long time ago, and people. But that simple idea of where is the world going? Someone earlier said, where the puck is going. This question of course, people always need a sense of community, and there's always things pulling against that. But if the screens are only going to become more and more irresistible, how is it that we will use the internet to get people off the internet? How is it that we might use your phones to get off your phones? And more importantly, even than that, is how do people feel powerful together? Because the most basic idea in the world is that when people come together, that if I would ask you to pause right now and imagine your life without the people that you care most about in life. How did you meet? Think of someone who's really special to you. How did you stumble on them? Maybe you went to school with them. Maybe you work with them. But that idea of creating the serendipity and the magic of the simplest thing in the world, which is the most amazing things happen when people meet up. And the worst things in the world happen when people meet up. But if you have a fundamental belief in humanity and the spirit and the soul and all that might be good in the world, you got to believe that bringing people together in real life is a good thing, and that it might spawn some goodness. So if you can cut to that screen that's over there, and so here we are. So Meetup today is about 15,000 meetups happening every day around the world, and this is a live, real-time ticker of people signing up for meetups as we speak. You'd see it's all over the world and all kinds of things. It's not tech meetups. The average meetup is 10 people who say want to play a card game or a women's circle or a leadership development for women or an Austin user experience professional, or people want to learn to speak French in Indianapolis, or they want to talk about Doctor Who in Texas. The idea was, how can we make it easy so that when people find themselves interested in something, find themselves passionate about something, find themselves wanting to learn something, maybe they find themselves diagnosed with something, that they can, within miles and within days or within hours or within blocks, they can meet up. And that's it. And if you would have told me 15 years later that I would still be hacking every single day, Meetup's a sizable company now, but that you would find that all I can say, just wrapping up here, is I wish upon all of you that you can find something to do with your life that is a calling, that is a big, meaningful, significant mission that you can basically spend umpteen years working on and just hacking away at and trying to get better and better. So just to wrap up, I know some of you might be aware that I was a guy who said we were never going to sell the company. And because Meetup is this $30-40 million a year revenue business. We haven't raised money in 10 years. Why on earth would you sell the company, especially if you love the work? Long story short is Trump happens, and the world looks like it's going off the rails, and and at the end of the day, I started Meetup 10 years too early. And everything in life is about timing. Imagine Airbnb having started 10 years too early. It wouldn't have worked. Everything, timing is critical. And so I always put this priority on, we're going to be this fiercely independent company. And the second goal would be growth. But actually, with the world sort of melting down and the world needing what we do, I always figured other people would do this. Oh, Facebook will eventually do this. Well, Facebook's still going to be fucking Facebook with their VR and the other bullshit. So I said, what can we do to go faster? How can we serve more people? How can we have more impact on the world? Here along, and so I had this little door opening of like, okay, I'm going to consider the possibilities. We could raise a ton of money. We had the ability to do that. And instead, here comes WeWork, who I was like, WeWork? Why would I want to hook up with WeWork? But oh my God, you know, it's like Sheryl Sandberg from Facebook and Google saying, when you see a rocket ship, sometimes just jump on board. And here's a company that was ridiculously aligned on values. And at the end of the day, what is Meetup? We're trying to create the world's most impactful, like IRL community company. And here's WeWork fixing the number one problem of Meetup organizers is where do you have your Meetup? And WeWork has space that needs community, and Meetup is community that needs space. And here we are. So thank you, everyone.
Okay. Let's all hope that Facebook doesn't buy WeWork, because then you'd be screwed. All right. Did you guys enjoy those 3 demos? Which one was your favorite? Yell out the name. Yeah. The one we just saw, because that's the one you remember, right? What? Harvest Kitchen? Benefit Kitchen. Benefits. It's about benefits. All right, you guys. We have one more guest who is arriving shortly, and she is going to issue a proclamation for Silicon Alley, which is something they did in the olden days, I think, and we'll see what that's all about. But while we wait for her, grab another drink, grab another Taco-less taco, our innovative tacos over here, and we will be right back as soon as she gets here, all right? Have fun, you guys. Hear ye, hear ye. Hear ye, hear ye. Hear ye. Is it oh yay? Oh, okay. So I say oh, you say yay. Oh. Oh. I say here, you say yay. Here. Here. All right. Let's do this. We're going to have a proclamation. It's literally printed out on a giant piece of paper, and it's framed. And I think she might be giving it away to one winner. No? You're going to keep it for yourself? Okay. She's not going to be giving it away, but she is going to be reading it. I'm very, very excited to introduce to you Gail Brewer, who is the president of the Manhattan Borough. Very important person. Put your hands together for Gail Brewer.
Thank you very much, Sarah. So it is a big honor to be here tonight. Some of you know that in the City Council, I chaired the Technology Committee. And it came about because, Richard knows this, but what happened was there was a guy named de Blasio and a woman named Quinn. For those of you not from New York, somebody from New York is going to have to explain all this. And there was a speaker fight, and I supported this guy named de Blasio, and he lost. And in exchange, I got the Technology Committee in 2002 because it was considered a bad committee compared to health and housing and so on. And thanks to many of you in this room and others, we made something out of that committee. We certainly did open data bill, we did webcasting, and with Richard from Verizon and else, we all went around the 5 boroughs and talked about things that are now so passé that nobody even talks about them anymore. But we still have digital divide issues. We're all working, and it's really great to be here tonight because everybody's on the same page in terms of what we need to do for the future, just in terms of our city and technology. And we're continuing in our office, in the Borough President's office, to work with Beta NYC and others to train people, community boards, CUNY students on how to use all this data, just as one example, because you have to use it if it's there. We're working with LoRa and other organizations to try to get data more into the conversation. So I don't know half what you know, but I know that the city of New York appreciates what you're doing, and I want to congratulate you. It's a big deal to be here tonight. I've seen the tech world go up and down, and it's really up, and it's really fabulous. So congratulations. So this is a proclamation. I'll give it to Sarah, I think. Come on back up. And I want to say to her, come on up, Sarah. Proclamations they mean something. So the Silicon Alley community encompasses creators and innovative thinkers in software and digital media and game design and telecommunications. You are all entrepreneurial. And the technology ecosystem of our beloved city is dynamic. It's so clear from the increase in jobs in the past 10 years and computer science majors and the school system. We're working hard on that. And the fact that the city has raised the most venture capital funds in the East Coast region. So to mark the anniversary, Silicon Alley, Avni, and everyone else who's here tonight, all the companies celebrate the past, the present, and the future. So I, Gail Brewer, as your Manhattan Borough President, I commend all of you in Silicon Alley for so many years of technological growth in our beloved 5 boroughs. I know there are other parts of the state, but in the 5 boroughs, and I proclaim Tuesday, February 27, 2018, Silicon Alley Appreciation Day in the borough of Manhattan. Congratulations.
Thank you. Is this really mine? Oh, wow. Take this on the train? No. All right. This is really cool. Today's going to be a very special day forever going forward. So next year we're all going to meet up again. Isn't that awesome? We're not going to meetup.com again. We're going to meet up again. So we're going to get that right. You guys had a good time tonight? Great time? Okay. Give yourselves a round of applause. Get another drink. Get some swag. And we'll see you all next year. Same time, same place. Thanks, guys.